We are live. Welcome to episode one of this season of Out of the Draft podcast. I am Dylan, and this is
I'm Dylan Allen.
I'm Hunter Baker, aka Shake and Bake 0301.
I'm Cody Matherly.
I'm Stat Boy, aka NBA Dunboy.
welcome everybody. We just wanted to say how y'all doing. How was the off season? First off, Da, you can start us off.
Pretty good. I did miss all the racing, but I'm just glad we have it back, man. I'm really amped up for this clash coming up.
For sure. Anybody else, Hunter?
Yeah. I mean, it was a interesting off season. I mean, we'll get into a bunch of it. I mean, obviously the lawsuit and then today's news. Um, really excited to just get back to it. I feel like I lose a lot less sleep watching Chase Elliott every week than I do watching the Eagles. So I'm happy that's over and ready to get to a real sport.
For sure.
I'm honestly excited to get back to the racing. Ready to watch. Able to get back to watching every series like I was before. Really excited to see just kind of what guess kind of what the champions are able to do.
For sure.
I'm just ready for racing to be back. I got nothing good going on right now, so
Yeah, for sure.
team's poverty.
I'm so excited. This is like what I want, and we'll get into why I'm so excited today. But there's a lot to talk about. But first, we want to talk about the end of last season. So let's start off with our three champions of last year. Corey Heim was the truck champion. Jesse Love was our Xfinity, with now O'Reilly Auto Parts series, and then Kyle Larson is a two-time Cup champion now. Anybody want to start us off talking about any of those and what your expectations are for next year?
I mean, I'll start it off. I mean, I think immediately just go to trucks when it comes to champions, and I think that there was nobody, even in that flawed format that we've had the last few years, there was nobody more deserving in the truck series than Corey Heim. Real dominant year out of him, really impressive. And now it's just, I mean, what's next? I mean, you don't know. I mean, he doesn't have a full-time ride, which is absolutely insane to me. I think if I look at the three series in total and I say who is I mean, he's a top 20 wheelman out of the top three series. He has to be. I mean, I know he was in some good equipment, and the truck series isn't necessarily as strong as it has been in years past, but I mean, to be as dominant as he was, and then the move he made to win the championship to go seven wide down on the bottom. I mean, that's just got to boost his resume even more than what just the dominant season itself did. So I'm interested to see what happens with him. I'm really hoping that the Riley Herbst experiment in at 2311 is over at the end of this year, and Heim can kind of take that seat. But excited to see what he has going for him this year and whatever part-time gigs he hops in.
Yeah, I want to actually add on to like Corey Haim's dominance. He had 12 wins. He had 21 top tens. He had 19 top fives. He had 1,627 laps led the whole season. On average, that is 65 laps per race, at least, to the average that he led every single race. And obviously, he ended up with the championship, which was fully deserved. Um, you know, there's as we get later into it, we can discuss that more. But
I just want to say Corey Heim. I'm not the biggest fan of Corey Heim, but he is so good, and it is so amazing to watch real talent. I do hate that his issues with Ty Gibbs is kind of preventing him to be in a Cup ride. We're all NASCAR fans. We understand why that is. It sucks, but hopefully with the changes moving forward, it's not all about money drivers anymore. It's actually going to require a lot of skill to perform a whole season. So hopefully he can perform and move on to that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm ready to see the best, at least the best 30 drivers be in Cup. I mean, I know you're going to have some field fillers in the back, but excited with the lawsuit information. The team's kind of getting a little bit more money. I think that'll help the actual product on track. So excited about that.
Any of y'all want to say anything about Corey Heim, or do y'all want to move to Jesse Love?
I'm good
I
on
don't.
trucks.
Yeah, don't
see.
get me started on freaking Corey Hine. Or I mean Jesse Love.
Well,
Why?
Jesse
What's wrong
Love.
with him?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go ahead. Go into
I
it.
think he deserved it. What do you mean?
Oh my gosh. Here we go. This is the most done boy take, and we're starting off in episode 1 with just a terrible, terrible take.
I'm joking. Calm down.
I love it.
You never know with you.
But Connor did joke it, so
But I mean, I don't necessarily know how you can say that he choked it because I mean, if you go back and look at the whole weekend as a whole and just look at Jesse Love, I mean, in practice, if you just look at the lap averages, Jesse Love was the dude to beat. And I think it's absolutely insane that a guy who won the first and last race of the season is your champion. But the dude that won, what was it, 9 or 10 in between?
10.
I think it was 10.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
9, he has
nine
10, but nine,
nine
nine
victory
Connor Zillich
lanes. Yes.
wins.
Yeah.
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 But I mean, that's just insane that we had a format that literally you could win every single race but one and not be a champion. That's what it felt like. I mean, I feel like Zillich got. I wouldn't even say he got off to a slow start. He didn't get off to a slow start by any means. He was, finishing fourth and seventh and stuff like that. But once he got a hang of the cars, I mean, there was nobody in that field that even looked like we're in the same zip code as him. And just, I mean, it was almost heartbreaking to see him not win the championship. And I hate it for Zillich, but I do think it was one of the best things for NASCAR because it almost, it was like the NASCAR fans got the pitchforks and, had the fire and everything. They were outside like this format has to change. Because I mean that can't. I mean, if Corey Heim hadn't won the championship and Connor Zillich didn't win,
Yeah.
I mean that would have been awful. I feel like Cup was a little bit more wide open, and we'll get to that later. But I
Yep.
mean, Xfinity and Truck should have been decided before we even stepped foot in Phoenix.
Absolutely. And I like Jesse Love as a person. Like he's a really cool guy. I've talked to him a little bit, but what I want to see out of a champion, especially in the lower divisions, is not a gimmick. Like I want to show the best of the best so they can make it to Sunday, right? Like having that stat of being a champion is automatically just going to make him a Cup driver one day, but that sucks because I wanted him to deserve that through the whole season and not just 2 wins out of the year. Now, of course, he did top tens and top fives and whatever, but I like there was way more consistent drivers and better drivers throughout the whole year um, than just that one day at Phoenix. But still, congrats to him and the two team. I mean, they definitely were the car to beat on at Phoenix. So hopefully this year he gets to prove himself again. And I think with not having Zillich there, that might be a big step for him. I don't know what his predictions are going to be for himself. Obviously, to go back to back, but I think that's what he has to prove. Is not be the lucky guy at Phoenix and just go back to back.
Yeah, Da.
Yeah.
Get active. What's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts about the Xfinity series last season?
I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, it's unbelievable that driver who wins the first race and the last race is your champion. But it's really going to be interesting to see how much he's going to improve. He's been behind the wheel of that car for a while now, getting some more experience. We'll see if his wins and performance does take a big increase into this year, and also like the pressure and just like all the hate he got from the fans before winning because it's seen as undeserved, of course, but because some pressure makes diamonds sometimes, but also you can also crumble.
Yeah, that's one thing I also think I want to touch on really quick is he got so much undeserved hate. I mean, I know
Yeah.
it feels like he stole a championship, but I feel like Jesse Love is a very likable person,
Yeah.
and I hate that so many people were angry at him when you need to be angry at NASCAR, which
Yeah.
I think a lot of people eventually did figure out. But it sucked to see how many people like were just genuinely mad that he won and like took it out on him rather than the system itself. So. That's definitely an unfortunate circumstance for him as well.
And I'm sure it's pretty awkward with him being best friends with Connor. Like that relationship had to take some type of toll, right? Like not in the sense of because they respect each other as race car drivers, but like Jesse knows deep down, right? Like he knows. He still
Yeah.
did it. He's still happy that he won a championship, but like he feels bad for his best friend, So like I would hate to be in that situation. But I guess we don't have to deal with that no more. So
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God to that. I guess we'll move on to Cup, which is a really great battle with four drivers, but end up being Larson winning on the day with a
Yeah.
late restart. Him taking two tires. Denny pretty much dominated throughout the whole race, but he took four on that last restart after the other championship four contender, William Byron, blew a tire and caused a caution with 3 laps to go. And so that's what set up Larson to be ahead, and he ended up getting it done. Any thoughts about Larson's season and what expectations for next year?
You
I'll
smirking at
let
down
somebody
there.
else go first, man. I'll let somebody else go first
I
this
mean,
time.
typical Hamlin. We know. Come on, I know you want to say it.
No, no,
I'm
not at all. Like I genuinely was cheering for the first time in my life for Denny Hamlin. For the first time in my life, I wanted Denny Hamlin to win. And this is what really kind of just blows my mind about NASCAR when it comes to like everything that we had to deal with like in the last couple of years. So you have the Xfinity situation where Jesse Love wins 2 races, wins the championship. But when they came out with this format, they told us we're going to put an emphasis on winning. Winning is important. Winning is everything. Stat boy, when's the last time Kyle Larson won a race last year?
What fucking race was that? I
It was
know he
in
won.
May.
Oh,
that just
It was
good.
in
That
May.
that question was so big right there. Like the fact that you said what race was that? We honestly, I don't know.
It
Now
was
I'm
he
in
not.
was
May.
I'm not caught up on my stats yet. It's
His
personal.
last win, if I'm not, I'm like 90% sure his last win was Kansas in May, a race that he really didn't even deserve to win. I mean, he had probably the best short run car in that race, but I think without a fraudulent pit stop by the 9 car, I think Chase picks up his first win of the year there. So we put this emphasis on winning, how important winning is. Our champion didn't win a race the last how many months of the season? We finished our season in November, and he hadn't won
Yep.
since May. Like that's, I mean, don't get me wrong. If we go to all these different types of formats, we go to point, like you go to the Winston, you go to this. I mean, yeah, he is the champion. But the thing is you want us to buy in. You wanted us to buy in NASCAR on how important winning is. How is it important? How is winning important if you don't have to win a race for the last 5 months of the season and you're still a champion? It doesn't make sense. There was so much going on in that weekend with the 3 different series and how they all ended that it's just hard to necessarily know like what's the narrative? What does NASCAR want us to see? What do they want us to feel? Like, are we supposed to be like Game 7? Because in my opinion, if we're gonna do like a Game 7 gimmick type of thing like that, like let's just do it like Cars One. Just put the 4 cars out there and let them race. Like, if that's what we're gonna do, but I don't know. I'm not mad that Kyle Larson won. I think with everything going on in the personal life, I was cheering for Denny Hamlin. I wouldn't have been mad about any of them winning. There wasn't like a necessarily. I mean, I say there was one person I hate in there, but I think at that time he could kind of, you had to have some heart. You had to have a heart at that point and kind of be like, all right, I hope Denny gets it for his dad, which this offseason was obviously awful for him as well. So, I'm not necessarily saying I'm a Denny fan, but I won't be upset if he has a successful 2026.
for sure. Um, I mean, my expectations for Larson. I mean, he's super fast. Everywhere you go, like he's the guy to beat. Cliff Daniels is the crew chief in the garage. Like he is the guy. I think he's definitely going to be the contender for a championship. But the problem that we're going to talk about moving forward is Kyle Larson isn't consistent. He's a win. Well, I know that we just talked about he hasn't won since May, but like he's a checkers or wreckers kind of driver. I don't know if this fits him, and
I don't think
he,
it does
I think
at
he's going to
all.
have to adapt to that. But I think Cliff Daniels is a great enough leader for him to change that mindset in Kyle Larson. Because remember that the Coke 600 where he had all that fire, he had all this crap, then he came back and won, or almost or whatever.
Hmm.
Like to me, that is the Cliff Daniels he's going to need, especially moving forward. But yeah, so I was happy for Larson. I was sad, really sad for Denny, because I think that was his last opportunity. I really
I
do.
think so. I don't know what he was doing taking forward. That was the worst call I might have ever
I
seen
don't know.
besides the no call in the Superdome.
I mean, I see that taking four was the worst call, but And I know that it's two different vehicles, two different types of
But it
talent
worked
in the
2 nights
field.
before.
Yes, it literally worked 2 nights before. And I know the dirty air is completely different in the truck series. The talent level, all those things are so different. But like, I personally would have taken 4, especially with the tire fall off that they had, and I would have been okay with that. I was okay with that decision, even losing. And I think Larson, they had to take 2 because on 4 they weren't winning. Like
No,
No.
that's just the reality. And so,
I say you either take 2 or you stay out. It's the only chance you got.
and I'm surprised Briscoe pitted. Like he was so back. Like I don't. To me, like you should have gambled.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm.
I think Briscoe was just at a Hail Mary at that point. It was like,
Yeah.
all right, if it works, it works.
But
At that point, I think he was just praying they wrecked each other going for it.
for sure. All right, well, congratulations to all 3 champions. For sure, we talked about formats and all these things, not deserved, well deserved. They were the best drivers of that day. So props to them, and hopefully, we don't ever have to talk about if it's deserved or not. So that's the goal. That we never want to say, was that a deserved championship? We want to crown the most deserving champion. So, anyways, we'll move forward. There's bigger news over the off season. First, want to talk about sad news with Greg Biffle and his family in a plane crash. They all passed away, as you all know, of course. And Denny Hamlin's father was in a fire. Something their house burned down, or what? What was it?
Yeah, their house.
Their house. And Denny's dad passed away, and Denny's mom is injured, and we give her prayer to fast recovery as well. Denny had a terrible offseason. It was went lows and highs are all over the place, but I'm sure his family meant more to him than anything that happened. But we'll move on to the. It's just quick. I don't really have much to talk about the lawsuit. I mean, everyone knew what happened. We settled. It was a great settlement. The teams really wanted to get 4 big pillars from the charter system. Sorry, I'm really coughing up right now. But the first thing they wanted to get was forever permanent charters, right? That was the number one thing that they really wanted, just because it made the revenue better. It made sponsorships want to buy in, and they don't feel like that they're losing money every year. And we saw that throughout the news and all the stuff that got put into the case, that each team was losing money every year. Hendrick Motorsports, Rick Hendrick said over the last 4 years he's lost $20 million. Like, that is crazy. And just think, they're the top team, like out of okay, one of the top teams, because you got Penske and Joe Gibbs, but that's just crazy to me. Go ahead.
I want to see how different that number is, though, if we're not talking about him practically sponsoring Kyle Larson all by
Yeah,
himself.
I mean,
So I don't know how much that has to do with how much he lost, but I mean, I think 2021 there wasn't a different sponsor on that 5 car at all. Like, I think all 36 races was just Hendrick cars, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think
No,
2022 was when.
he started with Nation's Guard, right? Or whatever it is, the green and black one.
I'm really sorry. But all in all, they got they're not called permanent because Jim France and NASCAR did not want them to be called permanent. They felt like that was a negative term for the teams, even though that's what the teams are asking for. And so they're still going through the process, but right now we're calling it evergreen.
That one.
And then they're getting more revenue, which is really good from the TV agreement. So they're getting a bigger percentage than they were before. They're also getting more revenue from other TV from like Canada, Brazil, other places around. They're getting revenue from them, and any other like extra revenue given to NASCAR, a percentage goes to the teams, which is really good. And then also they originally had this before the charter agreement was like the teams had like a 3 no say to like any type of like decision NASCAR makes. Well, now they moved it up to 5, but beforehand they took it away. So I don't know. So they got 3 out of the 4 things that they wanted. The last thing that they didn't get, what was the one that they didn't get? Do you remember? Anybody remember?
Nah.
Honestly,
Uh,
didn't really pay that much attention to the lawsuit. I just saw it so, and I was like, all right, I don't have to hear about it anymore. So
honestly, I was really involved in it. I know it sounds like I wasn't, but I was like really like paying attention closely, and honestly, I saw some things I really didn't like to see, and we'll talk about some things that Steve Phelps has said next.
those
But
text messages.
bro, when I say this, Steve Phelps, I always liked the guy really, and he's always been like type of a really nice like a really outgoing person on the media. But how can you go in private and say this crap that he said? Like you know for a fact people are not gonna respect you. Like you know what I mean? Like what and I don't know if that was the reason, but he is now he left NASCAR and is now not the commissioner. You know, so like from that, I don't know if that was the reason, but that has to be a part of the reason, right? Like you know,
Yeah.
anybody have any thoughts about Steve Phelps?
I
Yeah, I don't have much but the text messages. I mean, honestly, between all parties, the text messages were the best part of the lawsuit. I don't care what anybody says, and
I
maybe
agree.
that's just me looking at it from a non-business side. But holy crap, some of the stuff said in those text messages, if they were ever said like face to face, like at that you have to fight. Like, there's no way as a grown man you
Well,
don't fight.
I think if I really think Richard Childress would have actually punched him. Like
He
as
would he
old,
would have taken his watch off.
yeah, dude. Out of all the people that was talking crap or whatever on both sides of the lawsuit, that is probably the only person that I think would actually be like, "Yo, let me fight," which makes sense. Maybe he is a stupid redneck. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. But no, Steve Phelps. I know a lot of the drivers and teams have said good things. I don't know if they're saying it because they're on media, but like they definitely did say like you know he pushed us into an era of where we try new things. I do think you know going to street courses, going to new venues. I think that was big for us. It was a trial. I don't know if that's like the answer to our problems, but I do like the idea because making bigger events is what F1 is doing in America, and that's what we're not doing, right? So, like, you know, the Vegas race for F1, like, there's so many concerts, there's so many big events that's going around the track as they're racing. Like, that to me is an event and not just a race. I know you want to promote the racing itself, but if you want newer fans and newer audience to come actually visit your venue, you're going to have to do that. And that's just because we're we live in a short type of world, right? Like where you just scroll. You can't just focus on one thing for 3 to 4 hours. Like that's not gonna happen anymore, you know? Unless you're diehards like us, right? So like we're gonna watch it, but that
I
doesn't
feel
mean
like a lot
every
of the Yeah, a lot of the youth isn't, and that's, I mean, I think we did a lot better. I think if when you look at like the viewership over the last, 2 years, I think it has gotten a lot better. But I think a lot of it was just I mean, it almost felt like forced entertainment with what we had with our playoff system. I mean, it's hard not to be entertained, but when you're a fan like we are, it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still love dairy. I'm on the edge of my seat, but I don't think it's the best form of racing. Um, and I honestly just like I remember one of my first races I ever went to. My sister went to. I don't think she's watched a NASCAR race since, but she went because there was a concert before the race, and it's I mean, it's a meme now, but it was Nickelback, which back then was a big deal. Like, so, I mean,
Yes, dude,
I,
that's so awesome.
we we definitely got away from that. I mean, I know they Chicago, they tried to do things the first year there, and rain kind of, messed everything up with that. And
yeah,
they've
what
been
about the
trying
second
to
year?
the second I don't even know what happened the second year,
I do.
but well, spill the tea, stat boy.
Yes.
Bowman won.
I was
Oh,
talking about the stuff off the track. We don't care about Mickey's. Um,
Chase Elliott
but
2020.
no.
okay. But yeah, I just feel like NASCAR just hasn't done a good enough job of trying to, bring the outside fan in from that perspective. Because I mean, when you see these F1 races on like ESPN and stuff, especially when they come to America, I mean, there's big celebrities at these races, and we'll get like one or two each race, but we're not necessarily doing what they're doing. And I think that's something we definitely need to improve on. And hopefully, I mean, I feel like we're making steps in the right direction in some ways and kind of steps back in another. So hopefully the good starts outweighing the bad a little bit more.
Yeah, Cody, I think you can speak more into this because I mean your
Yeah,
age is kind of the demographic we need to focus in so that we can grow the sport a little bit. So, what would you personally like to see at the racetrack? Like, I know we just talked about Steve Phelps and he left, and that's the reason why we got onto this. But like, what could he have done better for each venue and each event that could have made your generation really want to go to racing?
yeah. I think which like you said, like F1 has tons of events, concerts and everything. Like me personally, as like a lot of youth is starting to get into F1 more, just because like they look at cars, they're going 200 miles per hour in a corner, and like it's cool to watch, and like at the track, I feel like there's just more like for example, Homestead, they don't have any venues there. It's just the track and racing, and which was a reason why Phoenix was the finale for a while, and as long as it was, because there's so much venues at the racetrack to go to. But like Homestead just really doesn't have anything. And I hope they can actually figure out something for Homestead to, bring into that to keep more youth coming in. I think it's, involving like, video games, like having testing out new games there, like NASCAR 26, if that were to come out, testing it out there, um, and just like different kinds of like games, just like events, concerts. It doesn't have to be concerts because that can just be anything really. But yeah, I think events would be definitely a good big thing for like the youth coming in.
Awesome, thank you. Um, Da or Stat Boy, y'all want to have anything before we move on to the biggest news of the off season? Um,
Oh, about Steve Phelps.
yeah.
Well, all I'm going to say is, if you ever told me that I need to be taken out back and flogged to be on site, that's all.
That's awesome. All right. Stat Boy.
I'm good on Steve Phelps. I didn't pay that much attention. I just read what I saw and
Yeah.
saw the drivers basically winning their arguments. I'm fine with it.
All right. Who wants to announce it? You have full reign.
Cody, you do it.
The chase is back, baby.
Yes, dude. Yes, it's back. I want to go. Well, I guess we can explain what the chase is before we move forward. So it's going to be a 10 race chase instead of eliminations. We just went from a 3-3-3-1 type of format to now if 10 races with 16 drivers. Before it was 10 drivers and then it went to 12 drivers and then it was a weird. There was a different type of chases, but and then you had a 1 year where Jeff Gordon just got added for some fun reason. So, but other than that,
Somebody's arm was itching.
yeah, somebody was. But the biggest thing out of this, stage racing is still going to be a thing. The winner is going to get 55 points instead of 40 points. So the gap for a winner is 20 points for 2 second. So to me, winning still matters, but consistency is going to be big, right? I think the balance of both is great because I think the Winston had its problems in a sense of the full season where, Matt Kenseth won one race, but he was so consistent all year, which is great because he was the best driver all year. But then you had drivers like Ryan Newman who had 8 wins, but he wasn't even in contention. That was kind of weird to me, and especially with this next gen car and all these different types of winners all the time, and it's not as you're not going to see any driver just run away from it anyways. Even if we went to a full 36, just because of all the different types of engineering and um, all the things like that. So I think the chase is perfect for what it is. This is what I grew up on. This is what most of us grew up on. Um, as a ex Jimmy Johnson fan, I'm really excited to see what we can do moving forward for like what drivers can hold up to the task. Now, I don't think we're gonna see a Jimmy Johnson type of performance where someone's gonna win five championships in a row. I don't think that's ever gonna be done again, especially with the field and how competitive and how equal the cars are. And Dirty Air's a lot more involved. Um, what was the other thing that changed? Oh, no more winning you're in, which is so it's the top 16 in points. So up till race 26, if you're top 16 in points, you advance to the chase. And the seeding is if you're the regular season champion. I don't know what they're going to call that, but I'm sure they're going to keep it the same. But you get 2,100 points, and then it goes to a 25-point lead to second, and then a 35-point lead to third, and then after that it's 5 points all the way to 2,000, all the way to the top 16. Um, before we get into why we love it, or before I get into why we love it, why I love it, I should say. Um, what do y'all think? Do y'all think this was good? This was bad? Give me your good, bad, um, and what we could do to improve it for in the future.
I mean, I think the idea of going back to the chase is great. I love that. I loved the chase growing up. Um, I think the execution, I think there's definitely some things we can fix. I don't like the fact that you could have, I mean, and I think what we're seeing in the last couple years in these next gen cars is the big three. You know, your Penske, Gibbs, and Hendrick. They're figuring out the car. Like I know it's base parts in a lot of situations, but the big three are figuring it out, and you're seeing that. I mean, that's the championship eight. It was all, or the not the round of eight. It was those three teams, and that's it. Um, they're figuring it out, and I think you're going to see more dominant seasons out of those drivers. And I hate the fact that if you do have like a superior regular season, you're still only going to have a 25-point lead going into the chase. Like it doesn't matter how many wins you have, how dominant you were, it's still only 25. I think if you're going to keep stage racing, um, which I'm not necessarily against, but in my opinion, I don't necessarily see the point in it for the regular season because I mean, especially I mean, road courses was my biggest thing. Like I mean, people would stay out in stage one and stage two to get that playoff point. I mean, 10 points are gonna matter. But I mean, if you're like seventh or eighth in points, I mean, what is 10 points to you? Because you're not gonna win the regular season championship, and you're not necessarily in like a threat of falling out of the top 16. So that playoff point incentive of oh let's have mixed strategies isn't gonna be there anymore. Um, I just I want playoff points back if we're going to have stage racing. I love the fact that we did put the emphasis on wins by making sure that you're 20 points ahead of second place, so second place can never outpoint you. They can technically tie you if they have win both stages and finish second, and you don't get any stage points and win the race. But I mean, at that point, they probably deserve to have as many points as you. Um, but I I don't like that. No matter what, you're only 25 points ahead if you win the regular season championship.
DA.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with the points Hunter made there, and I really like it because like the chase, of course, growing up, you reminisce on the battles like Stewart versus Edwards being like tied at Homestead and fantastic. The only thing, I mean, I know owners and the charters of all that with the playoffs. Like just 16 drivers seems a little bit too many drivers because the points in the regular season between like first and 16 is gonna be a hefty amount, so who barely has a chance at all. But other than that, I'm really happy with the step we've went in. I mean, it's definitely better, and I'm really excited to see how this pans out throughout the season.
Stepway.
Yeah. Um, I watched some of it earlier. Mark Martin said he's still pushing for a full-time point season, just like Junior. But I mean, if this is what we're gonna get to start, we're not. It's a lot easier to go from 16 people in with no winning you're in, and then make it down to 36.
Um, what do y'all feel like is the bad out of it? Was it just the 16 drivers? Is that what y'all said? I just want to make sure. Like how many like that
Well,
mountain.
yeah, I would say drivers and also like stages in the regular season. Like, what's the point really if it doesn't apply to the chase now?
Yeah,
Big thing.
I think I'm fine with keeping stages. Honestly, I'm not against it.
Yeah, I actually have a actually because that's just who they are. But Cody, do you want to add anything before?
I would say like obviously the good part about it, it was like the chase is back and like we have 16 drivers that like no matter what, like have a chance to like actually come back and win it, like in the elimination round, like if you don't have a good regular season, you're kind of just stuck there. And like you have to pretty much win or like have three good races in a row. And like that's still just hard to do in general. Um, so I think it's a good thing that we do have the chase system and just like the 100-point gap from first to 16th. Because if 10th place wins two races back to back, it moves them up to probably at least maybe like fifth or sixth around there more. Because like you never know what could happen, especially with like this new well, not new car anymore, but with the next gen car. I think the bad part I would say is definitely the amount of drivers, like 16. Like I don't want to go back on what I just said, but like there is a lot of drivers in there. I think it could be less, but they didn't want to take away from, 16 drivers, just with like, the charter system, the sponsors, everything like that. Because, you make the chase, your sponsor is just going to still be shown. And that's what the teams want. They want the sponsor money for sure. Um, but I think like just in general, having 16 people is a little too dramatic. But I was gonna say something else, but I honestly just completely slipped my head. Um, I genuinely don't remember what I was gonna say, but it was more on the bad side, but I couldn't remember.
I'm gonna add on one thing. So if you I'm trying to find the actual just driver standings from like the end of the regular season, but I can't. So I mean, if you kind of just look at like the actual points at the end of the year, and you take out SVG, you take out Cendric, you take out Austin Dillon, and even Josh Berry. The four drivers that were right behind them would be Busher, Priest, Gibbs, and Keselowski. So if we're just going straight 16 in points, I believe uh, it would have played out something similar to that. Um, I don't think there's that big of a talent gap in these cars. I mean, obviously, Kyle Larson is, in my opinion, the best driver in the sport and possibly in the world. But I also think you got guys, and I mean, I think like guys like Chris Buescher, he's shown he can win. He's, I mean, what last year was the closest finish in history away from winning, and then Tyler Reddick forgetting what the breaks were away from winning. So I mean that was back-to-back weeks, and that just a couple of years ago he did win back-to-back races, won Richmond and Michigan back-to-back weeks. So I don't think it's as big of a gap when it comes to talent if we're looking at the top 16 in points and take out the win and you're in. So I'm okay with 16. I really am. And I think whoever gets in the 16th spot's ever going to win a championship? Probably not, unless it's some crazy like injury, like waiver thing, like we've seen in the past. Like somebody like Kyle Busch, just goes crazy in the chase, like coming back from an injury. But I'm okay with 16. I don't necessarily have any issue with that. Like I said, I think my only issue, and I don't want to like harp on it too much because I'm super happy the Chase is back. I really am. I'm okay with getting away from the one race game 7 championship type of thing. And I'm happy to have a 10 race sample size, but I do want more emphasis on the regular season is my thing. I mean, that's 26 races. That's a big portion of your season. I think you should get rewarded a little bit more if you do have a really good regular season. I don't think you should be limited to only having a 25-point lead going in to the chase.
I I agree. I do think I can see your point, but during the chase format, like it was only based off of not where you finished in the regular season. It was based off of wins, and that's how you were seeded. So, like, let's say if you had 6 wins, you had 5,060 points, okay? And someone could have had, and you only had a 60-point gap from people that had no wins, right? So now you're going to have people from 10th to, or let's say the 10th, okay? Now you have a 70-point gap, and you could technically have the best regular season, right? Because you're the number one seed, and you're going to have more points than you would if you just had wins. Do you see that? So technically, it's actually more points given to people that are more consistent than just the winning part about it, which, in my
Yeah,
opinion, is what the balance of what people were asking for from the Winston, and that's why they went to that direction.
yeah, and I think the way I view it, I see what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying, and it does make sense. I think the way I'm viewing it is like if my ideal chase or format or playoff,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call
yeah,
it, would just be like, keep playoff points. I'm big on, stage wins being points. But I mean, if you listen to Denny, when he does his podcast, he always talks about doubling the amount that these are worth. So wins are worth 10, stage wins are worth 2. And I think if you do that, like you truly see your most dominant driver when it comes to the winning aspect and leading. Um, I mean, I think then potentially you might even be over the 100-point lead with some of them between stage wins and wins. I mean, um, you might be over the 100-point gap, but then I think that really just puts the emphasis strictly on um, like your regular season. And I hear what you're saying about first to 10th, but first to second could be really different if you have a dominant season and we go back to like the playoff point and like looking at that. I'm not as worried about the 10th place driver as I want to have a bigger advantage over the second place driver. Um, because I mean, obviously, if you're 1-2, that's been your biggest competition all year. So I think that's where more along the lines of what I'm saying, where I want the regular season and the playoff points, to be a thing, and the regular season to mean more.
yeah. I now I understand your perspective. At first, I was like, actually, they're getting more points like than before, and so I was like,
Yeah,
so technically, it's actually better for them. But I guess like I'm thinking to people who has no wins, and that's probably going to be from like 10th to 16th, right? Like that's
yeah,
in my, what I think about. And so to me, that's the people I'm trying not to even put into the playoffs or the chase, in my opinion. Like if I was a driver and I was the top seed, I'm gonna only look at the top five and be like, these are the people that are gonna contend with me. The rest of them are not. And so
yeah,
like and so to me, I'm like, I want a big of a gap from people that doesn't deserve it, and not deserve it. I hate to use that term, but like the people that I don't want to be involved because of the work that the other five have put in. You know,
yeah,
so that I guess I just didn't look at it like that. If now the way you're saying it, what I would do is stage points would to me stage wins would be 3 playoff points. I know that's a really difficult number to add up, but I really like that. And then wins would be 7, and I would do your fastest lap is 1 playoff point. Since you still, I don't know if that's still going to be a thing, but I actually really like the fastest lap. I know the next gen car, it's like the first 2 laps in clean air or whatever, but I think it's a really
and
cool.
unless you're Kyle Larson, you sit behind the wall for 120 laps and come out with an F1 car.
Yeah,
Holy crap!
and if that's the case, you gain a playoff point because you worked so hard for that, right? Like I think that could be a really cool. And moving forward, I'm sure they're going to change it because we're all human. We all complain about everything, right? So I'm sure they're going to change it again. I hope. I actually hope, and we're going to move into the last part really quickly, but I want to say this real quick. I actually don't want change. For the first time, I just want to keep this. I want them to pick one thing, and this is it. Okay? And so that we don't have to talk about, oh, this person did this during this era, this person did this during this era. Like, I want it to be so consistent, and I know that us as individuals and humans, we always try to, develop and like try to grow or whatever that is. I just don't want to see that. Like, I actually want
Yeah,
something that is permanent as much as possible so that I can look at your 2026 champion and your 2036 champion and be like, oh, both of those seasons were awesome, right? Like, I don't want to
yeah,
say, oh, well, this person won in this format, this person won in this format, so this one was. I hate that. I really cannot stand that because we talk about how much we hate the last single race playoffs or the champion or whatever. We all hate it, but every single one of them did what they had to do for what they were given. And so like they were all champions, right? Like and I know that there's so much discussion and whatever it may be, but like that's why I don't want change unless it's for the better. Now I know that contradicts what I said, but like I don't want much change. I want to keep it as similar as possible from this point on, just so that there's not a lot of confusion and not a lot of people that come into the sport and be like, well, why are we complaining about this? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Um,
I think you give it a 5-year sample size, and if there's small things you need to tweak it.
and I think that's a good enough sample size. I think 5 years up until 2031 is perfect, right? So I think that's when you can change something. And so that's kind of a new decade. It kind of puts in a new mindset, and so you don't look at each season in a different way. Um, but anybody have anything to add on to the playoff format? I mean, chase format. So sorry. Uh,
Yeah, we're not a ball and stick sport. Stop calling it the playoffs.
no, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I want to add on to what you said about like not having change. Like I said earlier, when like this was announced, I was like, it needs to stay like F1 how they did it. They had a point system, and they never changed it. It's been the same for a long time, and they could have changed the way how many points you get, which I'm not sure of that, and how many points you've always gotten. But like, right now they've always kept the same point system. It's the top 10 get points in the whole race. There's 20 drivers, which now it's going to be 22 in the field, but the top 10 still gets points. And if you don't finish top 10, you just don't get anything. Like they've always kept that. And I feel like that's what NASCAR should do. Like what you were saying, give it 5 years, don't change anything about it. And if there's anything you need to tweak, look at what you need to tweak and then, give it another 5 years and see what happens then. But I don't think we should have any change. Any change that we should have is just like the amount of drivers that are in there.
Yeah, I yeah, I think 16 is a little too many. I know all y'all said that, but Step Hunter, you said that was okay for you. I think 16 is a little too much. I want it to be a little bit harder for the top guys to make it in. Like
I think I'd go 12, honestly. Maybe 13.
13. That's such a weird number.
Damon's not here. Relax.
Yeah.
He's gonna watch.
All right. Well, what number y'all say?
I'd probably say 12, honestly.
No. Oh, okay. I was hoping you would be like 13, but
For the bit.
but anyways, well, I'm glad that we are moving away from the one race championship. I think this is the best step in the right direction. This is, in my opinion, what I wanted from the beginning. I didn't want a full season. I don't think I do want legitimacy, but I think the chase actually gave that as well. It had a big enough sample size to put that in there. So for me, this was my favorite idea. Of course, 16 is a little too many, but other than that, I'm so happy and I'm so glad. Last thing we wanted to say was your driver. All of us picked a driver who we want to see moving for next year. Who is going to perform the best at, or who we're looking to. Wait, I'm saying this all wrong. How did I say it in the text message?
100% honest. I didn't see this text message. So I'm gonna go last so I can hear what you all are saying, so I know what we're talking about.
I didn't know about so I'll go right before Hunter.
Oh, that's great. Well, see, we can just do it off the top of the dome.
Heck yeah.
Drivers you're looking to see more of in 2026.
Ooh, that's easy.
So
yeah.
Go ahead, Da. You can go first.
Okay, hear me out here. I look to
Don't
see
say
Cole
it.
Custer. Cole Custer is going to improve, I think.
Yuck. Yuck.
Yeah, okay.
I like
So
that. That's a.
I know he's better than Kyle Busch, but he's not improving.
Okay, that's.
Now we're talking wild.
Listen, I didn't say he's going to win. I'm just saying he's going to improve because, Haas is switching back to Chevy this year, which some people may have forgot about, but I don't know. I really think he is a good driver. I feel like the equipment he had, like have been great, but I feel like they are going to get a little bit better, improved, switching the Chevy.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
definitely agree with you there. I agree a lot. I mean, I think Cole Custer gets. I mean, I'm not gonna say a lot of undeserved hate. There's definitely some deserved hate on his aspect, but I think he's a lot better driver than a lot of people give him credit for. I mean, even if you just look at his one career Cup win, I mean, you can say whatever you want about it being a late race restart, but I mean, he went wheel to wheel with some of the best in the sport, and he outdueled him at Kentucky. So I definitely think he deserves a lot more credit than what he's given. And I think the equipment he's been in the last couple years is pretty bad. I would honestly, at some points last year, I would debate that if we put Justin Haley back in Rick Ware Racing, like that, it would be better performance. Um, but yeah, I don't hate that at all. That's a good pick, Da.
Yeah.
Stat boy.
Honestly, we've seen his teammates somewhat start running up front. I think Noah Gragson has an improvement year here.
Well, what do you think he's going to be better at? Just the consistency aspect, or
Just
actually running?
consistency. He'll get a little bit more consistent. I can see him sneak a win at a draft track probably.
Yeah.
I don't think he dominates any flat track or anything.
Yeah, I agree to that. I'll go before Cody and Hunter. The person I'm looking for is Brad Keselowski. He did have a leg injury, but I think this type of racing, this format, suits drivers like him in a sense of being consistent throughout the whole year. And I think that RFK is actually going to be really fast next year. I don't know if they're going to be as fast as Penske, HMS, and Gibbs, but they're going to be up there with 2311 um, in that category. So I think Brad Keselowski is someone I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think
Cody, say it. Just say it, man.
I'm gonna say it, but like I obviously like I have a really true pick, and it's just gonna happen. Gotten better every year. Every year they have.
Everyone's gone.
Everyone's gone.
Yeah, maybe if we have 10 Darlingtons at the last 10 weeks, I think it's going to work. But if not, no.
Oh, it could be a great start.
That was the most predictable statement
That's
I've ever heard in my life.
No way the guy with the Eric Jones hat chooses Eric Jones. That's insane.
no way, dude. No, but
That's so awesome.
is honestly, I think we do see more of Ty Gibbs. I think he's had multiple years to improve, and he's started to improve anyway. And I think this is the year that we see him break out a win. He should have won Bristol, the night race last year, and we all know what happened. We definitely know Bowman shouldn't have won it, which he didn't. So thankfully for that. But I think Ty Gibbs breaks out a win here.
Awesome. Hunter?
I think for me, I'm gonna go. What?
Thought we lost you for a second. Froze.
Yeah, you
Oh
froze
yeah,
in
it
like.
said low band.
Yeah,
It said
restart
low
that whole
bandwidth.
sentence.
I didn't know what was going on, man. I got scared. I think for me, I'm gonna go with a teammate of who you said. I'm gonna go with Ryan Preece. I think Ryan Preece showed a lot of glimpses of potential last year. I think he's a guy who definitely does. He's another one that I think has tremendous talent. I think he proved that in the years when he was in Xfinity, part time, and would go and get rides. And I mean, he won a couple big races. I think he showed a lot of speed last year at Phoenix early in the year, and I was like, huh. Maybe this was the right move. Like maybe RFK knows what they're doing, putting him in the 60. And then you kind of just see, I mean, at one point he thought he was an airplane at Daytona, and I mean, I don't really put that on him. I mean, he's got the worst super speedway luck I've probably ever seen other than Dale. But oh, too far, my bad. I too far. R.I.P. But no, I really think Ryan Preece is an extremely talented driver. I think RFK is continuing to get better, and I think he finds victory lane. I'm not going to go crazy like Mitch did the last time we did this and say he's going to win 3 races. But I think I think Ryan Preece finds victory lane once, and I really think he finds it twice.
Yeah, especially at the really flat ovals. Short tracks, I think he's going to perform well. And he's
I
also
think North
really.
Wilkesboro.
Oh, I, well, he was really honestly he was really consistent all year too, especially long runs. Like he was the best car other than Ryan Blaney that would pass guys throughout throughout a race. And
I
so
mean,
I
people forget how good he was in the Open at North Wilkesboro, and then he had the choose cone violation, had to go to the back.
yeah
I genuinely believe if he would have made the actual All Star race, he would have been in contention by the end of the night. I mean, he was doing things that nobody else could do when it came to passing at that track. And I mean, like you said, the short, flatter ovals really fit his driving style. And I'll be honest, like I said, I think RFK is getting a lot better too. I want to see just a him Christopher Bell battle at New Hampshire. Oh my God, that would feed families.
I,
It
I
would.
I think it would be awesome. I'm excited. Well, Hunter, I know you got to go soon, so we're gonna end it here. This is the first episode of many this year. We're excited. We have two more guys and maybe more that'll come on here and there. Damon will be here as well. He'll be full time on the podcast with us. So he just couldn't make it with us tonight. I'm sure he's excited about. Do y'all remember what he said in the chat? His thoughts about the format? Was it positive or negative or?
I think the actual change in the format he was positive about, but I think him and I were fairly similar when it came to the lack of playoff points. We weren't necessarily a fan of.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
he basically just wants to be me, and we have very similar
Yeah.
views on things. So
Yeah. Well, at least he's not here to call Cody Sugar Tits. So, well, at that, we're going to end off the episode, and we will see you guys next. Well, I don't even know when the next one will be. Well, do y'all want to? Okay, I guess we'll decide it now. Do y'all want to just do one before the clash, or do you want to do after before
oh yeah,
Daytona? Before the
before
clash?
the clash, 100.
Okay,
percent
I will do bold predictions that week, and then so that we can get a week off after that, and we'll do one for the season. All right. See y'all later.